cat in a pack, in a text from the back. Through a crack, you pick a track, and you take a smack. And Jack has had a hard day. No one told him it would be like this. He's had to score the hard way, and there's that trick he'll always miss. This is the toughest street in town. This is the toughest. It's tough stuff. This is the toughest street around. This is the toughest. Don't you go down there. It's just another black spot where far too many people have died. It's just another graveyard, and there's not too many people left alive. This is the toughest. Are you tough enough? This is the toughest. Are you rough enough? This is the toughest. Can you bluff enough? Just a minor misdemeanor, didn't mean no harm. But it's there as a constant reminder, and it's there to warn. Outside the window, the neon is still flashing in the morning light. Down on the sidewalk, that woman was blown away, out of sight. All across the city, no one gives a damn. All across the city, no one seems to understand. This is the toughest. This is the toughest street in town. This is the toughest street around. This is the toughest. Are you rough enough? This is the toughest. If I were you, I wouldn't come around here. This is the toughest. This is the toughest. This is the toughest. Are you tough enough? This is the toughest. Don't you go down there. This is the toughest. Come here, Jack. This is the
Okay, then here we are. I seem to be streaming successfully, and I am so delighted to see a few familiar faces in the chat as well. And in just a moment, we're going to be properly live as Helen Curl joins, the absolute superstar, the unsung hero of the Heavy Metal Truants. Helen, how are you doing?
I'm very well, Alex. How are you?
I am well. I'm excited. Here we are again, and you know, delighted to see that well, a bunch of our brethren have joined us to I guess what can feel like a bit of an afterthought. It's like, oh yeah, here's why we do it, right? You know, because you're so focused on getting the miles in that when you actually kind of think about it, it's almost just like it's done and dusted. It's like, no, this is why we do it, right? This
Absolutely.
is why Heavy Metal Truants exists.
This is
So-
almost the main event of the year, and it's been weird actually not doing these on a Friday. I've kind of missed it.
Yeah, I know. It's like I kind of got accustomed to it, and it's weird because when I think back to the 8th Heavy Metal Truants, I guess it's like many others in that it feels like a weird fever dream of different images and doing different things because you're so flush with experiences, you know, just smiling faces, grueling miles, you know, possibly hangovers, all those things. But this one was radically different, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. There was no hangovers for a start, so that was kind of weird. Yeah, and doing it kind of just on your own in your house, especially just, you know, on my little bike was really strange, not kind of seeing everyone and not having that camaraderie. But
Yeah.
But luckily, you know, we were there every Friday
Yeah.
to keep people's minds lifted and spirits high.
Yeah, and you know, and it's not to overemphasize the work that went into it, but Head Maltruance 8 wasn't going to happen, was it? It was done.
No, I mean there was a point where I think you and I had a conversation, and we were just kind of like, wow, what are we going to do? Is this over for the year? Do we have to just forget it? But in typical metal style, we couldn't let the charities go without.
No,
they're
that's right.
important for anything to come in the way of it. So
yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I guess that's the thing about all of this is, you know, a lot of the assumptions that you make about a time like this are not correct. People aren't less generous; they become more generous. People don't become too busy to do this; they suddenly have more time to do this and more drive to be part of it all. And I guess that's what we discovered. But enough about us.
Yes.
Why don't we bring in our charities and well, let's ask them what this has done in their world and how their worlds have actually been in light of everything. So we're now going to be joined by some incredibly special people, literally the reason why we are here. We are joined by all 4 charities. Hello guys, how are you doing? Are you all receiving?
Hey everyone.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi. How's it going?
It's good. How are you?
Well, all the better for seeing you, and all the better for being joined by so many heavy metal truants online who are watching at the moment, waiting for the big reveal. We're just kind of remarking how you know, you kind of get to the end of a journey like the rides and the runs, the walks that people have undertaken, and you cross the finish line, and it's like you almost forget there's so much more to be done still. And I guess that's the thing. And I wanted to explore this thought with you because you guys, you never stop. This is year round, you know, every single day you guys are trying to make a difference in the lives of some incredibly important, in many cases, vulnerable people and so on. I mean, so we take real inspiration from you. And the reason why we couldn't not do Head Maltruance was because of the work that you do. And so I wondered if we could kind of talk to you a little bit about the difference that fundraising makes, because this isn't the end of Head Maltruance 8. To us, it's the beginning of Head Maltruance 9. But we do have something that we need to do before then. But I wanted to maybe starting with Malaika, what difference has fundraising made in your world, and how has your world been affected by the obvious circumstances we all find ourselves in?
Yeah, oh my goodness, I don't think anyone could have predicted what would be happening this year. But just so you know, Childline, 90% of our funding comes from public donations and our heavy metal friends. So 90% of our work couldn't have happened without you all. So that's opening our Childline service, being there for children 24/7. You guys are just invaluable. We could do anything without you. So thank you.
Well, I mean, thank you for the work that you do. And how have things been affected in, you know, this incredibly unusual time of COVID? Has the demand for your services gone up? Has the fundraising been adversely affected? I mean, what's happened in your world?
Yeah, so we've been contacted by around 60,000 children since lockdown began, and that's about worries surrounding coronavirus. Many of our centres and bases, we had to adapt quickly to be able to still answer the phone. So that's getting in our counsellors in during the night service and during the day. And you think how difficult that was when we were all locked in from our homes. We quickly had to make sure that we could get laptops so that our counsellors could be there around the clock and answer calls to children. As the other charities have explained, lots of fundraising events haven't been able to happen. So the marathon was a big one for us. No special event gala dinners, no anything. So lots of our events have been cancelled. And we're hoping to be able to do some events later this year, but it's all looking a bit scary, particularly as the government guidance is quickly changing. So the fact that you guys were able to quickly do something virtually is a huge success. And we've actually been amazed by how huge and how global you're able to go with that, and especially in the virtual world, it's not easy. So you were almost trailblazers in that fact. So yeah, huge.
Well, you're very kind. Well, I mean, to be honest, I guess, I mean, Helen, you could probably vouch for this. We didn't know what we were doing.
I had absolutely no idea. Still don't daily.
We made it up as we went. There wasn't time to think about everything, which isn't how we generally tend to operate. But we just kind of had to go with the idea and run with it. And well, a lot of people met us halfway. which is, I guess, why it worked, because we couldn't have done that otherwise. So, I mean, I wondered if we could do a bit of a round robin. So Jane, I mean, how has your world been affected since COVID? How has the fundraising gone? How are the support services that your charity provides been affected by things? What's gone on since we spoke with you last?
Right. Well, obviously, it's not been huge amounts of fun. However, we've been totally inspired by people like you being so committed during kind of a time that's pretty crazy for them as well. So we're just, we're so grateful for this. I mean, I guess the big thing is that cancer doesn't stop for anything. So, young people are still getting cancer, and if anything, they're even more at risk of being isolated than ever. Since the last lockdown, a lot of our young people who've been going through treatment have been completely isolated, some shielding, unable to kind of see any of their family or friends. So, I mean, a cancer diagnosis and going through that as a teenager is pretty terrifying, but throw a global pandemic in there and it becomes pretty horrifying, to be honest. But we've had to adapt our services really quickly. So a little bit like you guys, the trailblazers, we've had to look at kind of how we get our funded staff accessing those young people throughout the pandemic, even if they are shielding. So we've taken a lot of our services virtually online, and that's gone down really, really well. We've also launched an amazing new app called I Am, which is basically, it's a virtual tool that young people, while they're going through treatment, can actually kind of communicate with their funded staff around their mental health and their well-being during this time. It's super like young people friendly, and we're finding that a really great tool to kind of aid the communication between those young people and the funded staff during kind of a very, very strange environment. Ultimately though, like all other charities, our events have been cancelled. Literally lockdown happened just before our week of Teenage Cancer Trust gigs.
At the Royal Albert Hall, that's a massive part of your year.
A massive part of our year, so kind of we've lost over 2 million from that alone, because that was in the budget. And also it was meant to be our 20th year, so 20th year of shows. So we had big plans and we were hoping to launch a regional music events program. So, it's not been great, and actually our income is down. I think we're looking at over 40% down this year. So this is why, amazing supporters like you and the huge amounts of money that you can raise are making such a difference, because ultimately, unless we're raising those funds, we're not going to be able to be there for young people kind of throughout their journey. So it is as frank and as black and white as that, really.
Yeah, well, I mean, speaking for all the heavy metal truants, I mean, you guys had to find a way forward, because there's no stopping, because it's suddenly far more challenging. It's just, you have to keep on going. And I think that's the reason why we decided we too had to find a way to make it work. And I guess it's just again inspirational to hear that you guys have found a way forward, and I guess that's what we've all had to do, even though it can feel like muddling through, is just finding a way, and I guess that's the abiding message why this has worked, is because there's been that shared desire. So I'm going around the room a little bit, because such different charities, but all united by I guess a desire for justice and care for people and so on. So Hannah, I'm going to unmute you. Could you tell me a little bit about your world and how Nordoff Robbins has been, I guess, affected in this time, but also how you found a way forward?
Yeah, sure. And we're like every other charity. We over half our income comes from events. And from April, we started cancelling our event portfolio. So the money started to become very precarious in terms of the fundraising. So when we heard that you guys were still doing something and fundraising online, we were just amazed. First of all, that you moved so quickly, because from our world, everyone's talking about going online, but it's hard to find the right way to do it. And you seem to just, like you say, trailblazers. It was amazing. So that was such a morale boost for the team, because we're tracking about 60% down on income. And when we had to cancel our Silver Clefs, that was our big marker of £1 million that we were going to lose. So in terms of delivery, we had to close our centres. We have to keep in line with the NHS. So we closed our centres, and also most of our work is in hospitals and care homes and schools. And then when the schools closed, all of our music therapists a lot of them were grounded. So it was difficult for us because we took advantage of the furlough scheme in order for us to prevent spending money when we physically couldn't be. It's a different delivery model. We couldn't physically be with our beneficiaries, and a lot of them, if not all of them, are shielding due to their own health conditions. However, like most charities and organisations, we have moved online, and so we're now half and half. So we've got 40 to 50% of the music therapists back in the business, and they're delivering some face-to-face. We've managed to get back into hospitals, SEN schools, where it's been a welcome to have a music therapist back in. Don't realise the difference that they make to the whole organisation, not just the pupils that they work with. And so we're also doing online. So we're actually testing, piloting, working with cared for children who've been carers and not being able to live the life that they've normally lived. And so we've been doing, because they're very tech savvy, that actually music therapy is something that's it's not something that you would do online normally because of the time lag, but they're working on ways in which they can do songwriting. We've brought our community choir online. So we're kind of tracking about maybe sort of a bit less, that's sort of about 40% of delivery, which is online. But interestingly, we know that we're now going to be always going to have an online offer as much as we do face-to-face, because some of our beneficiaries don't leave the house, due to their mental health. And sometimes children, for example, if they're sick, they can't. So it's a different way in which for us to operate. So I think we're learning a lot. But the main thing is the families that we work with, having children with autism, having children with special needs, not being able to leave the house has been really difficult for them. So we've had some really wonderful feedback that just even by seeing our faces and being able to connect through music online is really worthwhile. So just want to say thank you for allowing us to continue to do what we do, because it's incredibly, it's hard anyway in this current climate, but fundraising, knowing that are you going to be able to make the money to continue doing the work? So the loyalty of the Heavy Metal Truants and the unbelievable effort that you do to raise money for all of us, all charities here, is just incredibly inspiring. So just to say thank you to all of you for all of the amazing effort that you've done this year around for us.
I hope our brethren are listening. They're online now watching, and I hope that they register that. But again, I think that I'm probably speaking for a lot of them when I say that it's things like this that give you a sense of purpose. I think, speaking not just for myself, you feel like you're doing something worthwhile, and especially now in these confusing times, knowing that at least you're making some difference is an incredibly valuable thing. And we've had some wonderful messages from people all around the world. I mean, Helen, how many writers did we have in the end?
So in total, we almost had 400 riders. So I think it was about 380 something in the end, and that was from all over the world, which was just phenomenal. Something that we didn't expect, and that kind of came out of the woodwork through our friends and colleagues in the music industry. Sharing that information online was so vital to get the word out that Heavy Metal Truants was still happening, that that each of the charities was still needing those fundraising, and each of the charities was still in need. There was especially during lockdown. I mean, with what Hannah was just saying about people being in their houses and suddenly locked in and not being able to have that music therapy, just must have been crazy. And that's not changing. There's still that going on, and there still needs to be the message about what each of these charities are doing, and the good that they can bring to the community. So yeah, it was one of those things where they don't stop, so we don't stop.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I guess one of the huge developments for us is not just that we have made so many new friends around the world from the world of Heavy Metal Truants, but we've actually made new friends in the world of charities as well. And Caroline, I guess I just wanted to welcome you back again, representing Save the Children. And I guess because we had such a global group of people come together, especially this year, it was especially important for us to work with the international partner and so on. I mean, and the work of Save the Children, I mean, it's been going for what, like over a century now, which absolutely blows my mind. But I mean, just like, I mean, it's probably a lot to summarize, but how has Save the Children been affected over these past few months, and how have you adapted to these circumstances?
Thanks, Alex. Well, yeah, I think it's certainly been an interesting time in terms of challenges and having to adapt and do things differently. And like all of the other charities have said, the importance of our supporters and it's just so important given the situation that we're facing. And I think the inspiration that we've had from you and all of the riders has just been incredible. And it's so amazing to see how when you do adapt, making this global, how many people, like nearly 400 riders globally, it's just incredible. So huge thank you, and we're delighted that Save the Children is part of this really special partnership this year. I think in terms of the impact for Save the Children, we've been doing a lot to kind of think about how do we reach communities, families and the children in different ways. I mean, some of the things that have happened is that over 1.6 billion children were out of education globally, which is a figure that's quite difficult to get your head around. But that has meant that we've had to really think about how do we reach children through different mechanisms. So lots of different innovations, but one that really has stood out to me is this a mobile camel library. So in Ethiopia, in quite a rural area, this mobile camel library has been going around to the communities and visiting the children, and that enables them to still be able to learn and to read in their homes. And then we've seen examples in Bangladesh where they've been doing a big rickshaw campaign to communicate messages about health and hygiene and using loud hailers. So really different things that you wouldn't imagine that we would have been doing before, but have become so important. And I mean, focusing for Save the Children, focusing on education and health is the most important thing. They're our biggest priorities, and then ensuring that children are protected. So we've done a huge amount to distribute soap, sanitizers, other critical hygiene supplies around the world and to health workers. And we've also done quite a lot to adapt things like shared water stations. So in communities like in Somalia, where you've got lots of different people using the same water station, changing it so it's operated by a foot pump rather than a hand pump to help with simple things that, preventing the same people touching the pump. So we've adapted quite a lot of different mechanisms, and it's been amazing to see how those ideas have been shared across different communities. And we've been working in places like Bangladesh in the Rohingya refugee camp. So a lot of work that we're doing is trying to reach the most marginalized children, and refugees absolutely fall into that category. And in the Rohingya camp, we have set up an isolation unit, so 60 hospital beds specifically for people who get who are impacted by COVID-19, and in these areas social distancing isn't possible. So if the virus hits, then we know that it will spread quickly, and that there isn't the same level of testing. So we need to be able to respond really quickly. And it's only because of supporters like you that we've been able to do things like this. We've had to really think differently. And we've reached now over 4.3 million children over the last 6 months, 9 million families. We absolutely wouldn't have been able to do that without your support. So it's a huge thank you. Lots more to do. There's significant challenges ahead of us. But yeah, the support that we receive just is so important for helping us being able to carry on doing things like that in the future.
It's amazing how a lot of the kind of UK based charities or charities that are based in kind of more developed countries have been able to rely very heavily on technology, but actually looking at some of the more rural places around the world, you've almost had to go back and kind of get back to that community spirit, which is something actually I think that everyone has found, rather than, I think people have got bored of Zoom calls and things, and just kind of sitting around in their pants. Lucky I do have trousers on today, but it's about kind of reaching out and actually speaking to another human being that's so vital to keep people's mental health and well-being up. So the work that you guys do, all of you around the world and the UK, just, I mean, wow, yeah. that's all that really said.
Yeah, it's powerful stuff. And I'm probably going to speak for Helen, and I think all the Heavy Metal Truants again. When I say it never feels like whatever we do is enough, because it's always like, okay, well, we've done this, and where do we go from here? So, under previous circumstances, Helen, I guess we've got a final task to do. We'd probably be, let's just say, in a bar-like circumstance, right? Usually a little raucous. We don't have a pub around us, but we do have something that's almost as good, which is a slideshow. I know, it's amazing. So what I wanted to do was just revisit the years gone by, because we have so many Heavy Metal Truants who have joined us for the first time this year. And, I think it's a really remarkable journey. And what I wanted to do was just sort of retrace some of our steps, because this is about the check that we're going to present today. And just, I guess, just sort of reflect on what we're about to do, because it's very exciting. And I'm going to need some people's musical skills in just a few minutes. Okay, can everybody see that?
Yes.
Yeah, all right, fantastic, very good. This is exciting. So I guess something that I say a lot, and it bears emphasis, because without one man, the Heavy Metal Truants would certainly not exist. It was, in the very beginning, all about a man. Do we know who he was? Oh man, 1 second. Oh god. Sorry,
Alex is still trying to get to grips with technology, as you can see.
Yeah, there's something weird just happened on my system. This is always exciting. Okay, everyone see that still?
Yeah, if you press play at the top, Alex.
Yeah, there we go. Splendid. Is everyone watching? Splendid. Rod Smallwood. How was that for me? Filling in some dead space there. That was exciting. Yeah, so look, it is kind of, I guess, one of our absolute spirit animals and inspirations. Brian Blessed said, if people say that you're mad, then you're probably on the right path. So it was in the middle of the desert in Morocco that Rod and I started talking about a way of bringing the Heavy Metal Truants to life. This notion that his organization, the Truants, could somehow evolve, I guess, and I guess birth something that very much reflects who the Truants are, but also reflects its own culture. And I think that 8 years later, it's just so great to see the Heavy Metal Truants as this really strong branch of the mothership organization. And I guess, Helen, you do a lot of work for both organizations, to put things mildly.
Yeah, I was going to say, Rod's going to be so embarrassed about this, actually, because he hates when the focus is on him. And actually, it was a group of friends of his that kind of started the Truants, as it were, the kind of the mothership, and they just wanted to do something for charity. So they got Alex on board to start the Heavy Metal Truants, which was the side. This kind of the sisterhood of the Truants, and the Heavy Metal Truants kind of really took off in 2013 with that first ride up to download.
Yeah, and there's a lot of similarity, I think, between 2013 and Heavy Metal Truants 8 in many ways, because we'd never really done it that way before, and despite all the planning in the world, there was one thing that we really couldn't control, which was the weather. And we just didn't know what it was going to be like, did we?
Well, no, I mean, I wasn't around in those days. It's far too old for me. But it was. I heard many stories about how absolutely dreadful not only the weather was, but just, you know, you guys didn't really know where you were going, and people were getting lost, and it was just, there was just this ramshackle group of people that thought, well, let's just get on a bike and see what happens. And that's exactly what they did. Yeah, eight years later, we're still doing the same thing.
Indeed. Yeah, so 94,000 pounds in the first year, which I've got to say just absolutely staggered me. It felt like, sorry?
Not to be sneezed at all.
No, not at all. I mean, just, because it was really like, we didn't create something, we tapped into something that was already there, which kind of blew my mind, because you kind of have a feeling of the heavy metal community when you go out to a show, but when it's actually boiled down to numbers on a spreadsheet, that's when you really get a sense of just how powerful it all is. So 94,000 pounds, we're going to roll through this. Okay. Yeah. Year 2, great. 72,000 pounds, finding our feet, working out how things work, what works, what doesn't. Year 3.
I see the crowds getting bigger as well. All of the people actually joining.
Indeed. And the puns begin as well, because at first we thought, well, let's just name ourselves after various films of Bruce Willis and so on. But then in year 4, a tribute to Lemmy, 102,000 pounds. I think we were introducing things like the Monster Rock auction in a really big way, and other things were beginning to take off.
We started to grow that year. I think that was the year I joined, I think. Year 4.
Indeed. And in no small way related to your organization and imagination. In year 5, the Revenge of the Fifth, and I got to say, Brian Blessed waving us off, I think, is one of the greatest moments, of my life, because I've never heard more inspirational words come out of a man, and he truly is a guy who lived it. Year 6, the Beast of a Ride, 111,000 pounds, huge numbers, absolutely staggering. And I guess, Helen, you could probably tell me a bit about this yourself, because I've never really asked you. When you hit these kinds of numbers, you ask yourself, gosh, can we do it again? Is there any way? That's the
really difficult part, kind of hitting that 100,000 mark, especially once you hit that, you don't want to go back down. And that's something for us. We're so concentrating on making sure that money comes rolling in to give to the charities. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're doing it for. We're not doing it for a good laugh. We're doing it so that you guys can keep doing the good work that you do. And it's so important for us to reach those milestones every year.
Yeah, but it's always like a sharp intake of air when you see that number going out, and it's like, oh man, it's going to be tough to do that again. But then year 7, wow, broke 6 figures again, which I thought was an astonishing achievement, because we actually had one of our smallest groups since the first one, and we also had one of our hardest rides due to weather. And I suppose it's at that point that we bring ourselves up to year 8, which is where I need.
Is this where I come in?
Their drum roll, indeed. Can everyone start their drum roll, please? And this is the moment. So, Helen, there's nothing we can do more to delay this. Hold it up. There we go. Boom.
205.
Yes.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
Wow, that's amazing. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Whoa.
We're at 5,000 pounds. So it's actually, it's our biggest year ever, which is a hell of a thing. So we started at 66,000 pounds as a target. We're like, there's no way. We broke that on day 1. Then we broke 100,000, and then we doubled it, which is, I think it's not about what the heavy metal truants do. It's about the people that we call on for support, and it's about the charity work that is done by the group that's assembled today. So all I wanted to say was there's a lot more where that came from. There's more work to be done, and Heavy Metal Truants number 9 starts officially right now. So thank you so much for joining us and for being a part of this.
What it does mean is that obviously that £205,000 gets split 4 ways between each of the charities. So each of the charities will receive over £50,000 each. for this year.
Wow.
So that is our number for this year. And sorry we couldn't get more, but we're starting number 9, and yeah, we're going to make sure that the money keeps rolling in.
Yeah. So
Amazing.
That is incredible. That is incredible
Really
money. I can't believe you could do that. Literally double. That's amazing. Thank you so much to everyone that's made that happen. That's amazing.
And obviously, if you want to come and work for Teenage Cancer Trust,
Yeah.
sounds like this. We definitely need you guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's incredible. I mean,
we won't stop doing what we're doing, and the Truants is we've got some really interesting things happening at the end of this year. It's not only HMT9 as well, but we've got some extra Truants rides hopefully happening next year. We're starting the meetings for those, and so the fundraising is still going to keep coming in. We've got the golf day next year as well for the Truants. And we'll hopefully be getting back to Legends dinners and Monster Rock auctions. So we're gonna keep ramping up what we do for you guys and keep the message out there.
Thank you so much. That's incredible. Thank you, all Heavy Metal Truant friends out there. Thank you so much.
There's a lot where that came from. So yeah, we're already at work on the next chapter, and so it's just a brief moment to reflect on what we've done, and off we go once again. So thank you so much for
yeah, good
brilliant.
Amazing. Thank you.
yeah.
I don't see those numbers much, especially not now. So it really, wow, it's really wonderful. It's really amazing for all of us to see that. So thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for the work that you do, and we can't heap enough praise on just how remarkable we find the effects of
Helen with her drink
that you bring together, and so yeah, so our only real words we're going to do is just say until next time. We'll be connecting with you over email and everything else in the coming days, just to kind of work out how we can best keep this going and make next year even bigger. Okay, so thank you so much, and
thank you so much.
Thanks, Sally.
All 4 of you.
Yeah, here's to you guys. Okay, and Helen and I, we're going to sign off in a moment, so we're going to usher you into the waiting room, and we'll look forward to seeing you guys very soon indeed. Okay,
Thank you
Thanks
so
much, guys. Thank
Big
you, all our
cheers.
heroes. Cheers. Thank you.
we'll see
Take
you
care.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. So Helen,
There's one more thing to do, I think.
okay, yeah, I guess we have to talk about what's next. I mean, what are you feeling? Because I'm always just like, I'm barely holding it in. I mean, geez, when you hear those stories, it's just kind of, it just cuts you in two.
It does. It really makes you just want to just get out there again and do it all over again.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. 205,000 pounds. That's big. So we've got a 9th ride of the Heavy Metal Truants to think about. A 9th, I guess, run. I think we're definitely going to have the Ramblers back, because that has to happen.
Absolutely. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to keep the online style of it, the virtual ride, so that people around the world can join as well. But I think we're saying that we're going to get out there again. We're going to do the physical ride as well.
Yeah, indeed. There's a lot to think about in terms of how to keep going. Because I think now that the genie's out of the bottle, we want all of our international friends to come back. This isn't just a UK thing; it's a heavy metal thing, and that truly is a global thing. And so off we go. We've got some serious work to do. If anybody's watching, what do they have to do to sign up for next year if they haven't already?
So they need to go to www.heavymetaltruants.com and register their interest. We've already actually had over 40 people, new people that haven't ridden before, that have written on the website and registered their interest. What we'll be doing is we're going to get some of the creative stuff going first. And then we'll open up the official registration page where you'll be able to register, and that'll be kind of around November time. So we want to kind of start getting your interest in and seeing how many people we actually want to do the physical ride versus the virtual. So there's a little bit of admin to do on our side, but it's also about the creative as well, because it's our 9th year. Yeah, we've got a lot to think about there, Alex.
Yeah, you know, to be honest, with so many great puns and so many great names for rides and all that, it doesn't really feel like the new chapter is together until you've really got like the creative out there, and you know, you've got to give it a name. And I guess what we've really struggled with is, you know, nothing rhymes with 9 really neatly, you know, but I think it's going to be possum.
Wine, no, wine, obviously.
Yeah, you know,
It's like we've survived this long, you know.
Yeah, I mean, so we're going to have to pause a little bit to think about what's going to happen. Yeah,
We'll pause it.
Indeed, you know, because it's got to be.
We'll come up with a perfect name.
Yeah, exactly. You know, we'll think about it. If only there was something associated with the word 9.
No.
Don't think about it. We'll hope that some people write in with some suggestions, and we'll park it there. So
we'll ignore all of them and go with what we've got anyway.
Indeed. Yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining. Very fond. We'll see you guys very soon. Hopefully, to all the Hamiltonians that have joined us today. Hats off. You guys are absolute legends. You know, we don't feel completely, you know, we don't feel completely worthy to present the chat because it's like I want everyone to be in the same room. We can't be, but we really are together, and it's a hell of a thing. And guys, you know, let's get to work. Okay, you heard those stories. So HeavyMetalTruants.com. You haven't already. Helen, anything else?
I think that's it.
Okay, very good. We'll probably email you in 5 minutes about what.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and put some pants on.
All right, very good. All right, take care. We'll see you soon. Okay.